Hi Flosstube. I think this is video number 5, maybe. I'm so impressed that I actually am making a 5th one. Thank you so much for all of your encouragement, your nice, kind words. Brian at Blitstitch, Blitstitch, said some very nice things about me on his last video. That was very, very kind of him, very generous. And we do seem to have the same taste. We stitch a lot of the same stuff, or have something that we want to stitch, and then he shows it and I'm like, oh my gosh, he's stitching that too. So that's been really fun. He is doing a giveaway on his last video, his celebration of how many subscribers he has, and when he showed it, it's the drawn thread 4 seasons. There's a spring garden, summer garden, winter garden, and fall garden, and was talking about maybe doing that as a stitch along. I was like, oh yeah, I'm down for that. I love those patterns. I've done a couple of drawn thread patterns before. I love their patterns. So when he gets that stitch along started, I'm definitely participating in that. Let's see. And then I think Michelle of Farm Girl also mentioned me in the Midwest Cross Stitchers group, and that was so, so nice of you, Michelle. Thank you so much. I love watching Flosstube. I love all of your channels. Like I said, it's like we're at each other's home, having a visit, looking at, you're showing your stitching, I'm showing my stitching. It's such a wonderful way to connect with other stitchers when you don't live close by, or maybe don't know anyone near you. I think they're out there, we just don't know where they are, that they're as close as they are. Maybe I should host a stitch-in at some public building and find out who's watching Flosstube and who shows up. That would be fun. All right, sorry, I have no daughters with me today. So sorry, it's just me. Someone asked in the comments if my sons stitch. I have 2 sons as well. And we've been teasing about having them on the show forever. So, well, since I started, forever. I say that, it's been a whole month. If the scheduling works out right, I only have one who lives not in this area, and he'll be home for Thanksgiving. So we thought it would be fun while they were all here, if I can get them all here at the same time. Maybe I'll have to do 2 separate videos, I don't know, to do a Christmas stocking review, because I have made a Christmas stocking for each of them, and me and my husband. So I thought it would be fun to have each of my kids on, and they can show their stocking and tell you about it, and then you'd be able to meet my sons and they could tell you their stitching story. That would be fun. So hopefully that will be next week's video, if I can make the scheduling all work out right. And to kick off Christmas season, right? Because after Thanksgiving, it's Christmas. That's just how it goes. Okay, let me do a WIP progress report. I did work on shores some more this week. I worked on the somewhere in the, because I do I'll either do an hour or I'll just do threads worth on this one every night before I start stitching on whatever else I'm stitching on for the day, because the sails in the water on this one is just a little tedious. So that's how I've been getting through this one. But somewhere about halfway through the week, I realized that I had stitched this flag up here in the dark, I think I stitched it in the same color as this. I think it's actually dark gray. I think it looks like a dark blue, but it's a dark gray. And somewhere in the middle of the week realized that those symbols look very similar, and I'm working off a working copy, photocopy that wasn't very clear, and realized the symbol was not a dark circle, it was a flower. So I realized they were supposed to be red, not blue. So I thought about leaving it in, but then I realized that there's a sun over here that has some red and orange in it, and it would probably tie in better if I would fix it. So I had to rip out this flag, put it in as red, and then when I got up to the top, that's when I realized it, is when I was looking at the symbol for this flag and realized that it was supposed to be red. So that one got put in red. So I actually made it to the top of that middle section of sails, clear up to the flag, and then started on the next section. I am bound and determined to have this block finished by the end of November. So, but I work at a school. Schedule is the most fabulous thing ever because I work today and tomorrow, and then I have the rest of the week off. I have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday off. So I will get a lot of stitching done this weekend, I hope. So that's how far I got on there. I need to, as soon as I finish those sails, I need to start putting a thread in of the water every night. And then we have this lovely, there's a lovely sun compassy thing over here and a anchor. It's really cool. I can't wait to do that part. And then I'll have this block done in December. And then January, February, March, April, so that it is done before Stitch Mania. I want to get this one done. And the magnet just stuck to my necklace. My turtle needle minder stuck to my necklace. All right, I did work on Quaker Diamonds on Tuesday, but Tuesday was one of those days where I was not able to stitch for very long. So all I got done was these. I did these two corner motifs and then this down at the bottom of that motif I've been trying to finish at the bottom. So hopefully I'll get some more work done on that this week. My needle minder is a reproduction of the elevation marker that's at Mesa Verde Park. My husband and I went there last summer for our anniversary. That was fun. Got to tour all the Indian ruins that are there, but that's what my needle, it was a magnet they were selling in the, in fact I think it was a pin that they were selling in the gift store, and I took the pin part off the back and glued a magnet to it so it could be a needle minder. Oh, Paula Vaughn. Almost forgot, Paula Vaughn. I actually worked on all of the, I had finished this green section last week, so this week I did all of the outlining on some things down here, the back stitching, and this part of the quilt. And then I didn't do the part that was touching something, but anything that wasn't touching any, that's not touching an unfinished part, I went ahead and did the back stitch because I like to do it as I go because I hate back stitching all at once at the end. So I was able to finish these daisies and all the grass, pieces of grass that's in there, finish these objects down here, the slate and the lunch pail. So I'm really happy to see that. Brought this section of it over here to life. I just need some little bit of fence and then the rest of this tree, and then this will be done. So this is going to be done by the end of the year. So that will be nice to have that finished. Here's the whole thing. And it is the called for DMC floss on 14 count Aida. And Shores is on 40 count Picture This Plus Mello with the called for NPI silks. And Quaker Diamonds is on 40 count Picture This Plus Legacy with the called for Valdani threads, although I am doing 2 strands over 2 threads on that one because I liked it needed fuller coverage on it. Normally on 40 count I do 1 strand over 2 threads of fabric, almost always. All right, I did work on G is for Garden again. I have ripped more out on this than I have stitched. It could be done by now if I hadn't ripped out so many things. I'll show you. Okay, so I told you last week that I just wasn't happy with the colors when I started it because I hadn't compared my Gentle Arts colors against the actual DMC because you know how batches vary. So I told you that last week that I wasn't happy with the colors. So I had to pull all the DMC out, pick some new colors that matched the DMC better. So this was the one I gave up on when I realized that all that stuff behind the G is supposed to be brown and it was gray. So I was like, okay, I'm not pulling all that out. We're just starting over. So this is the old one and I wasn't happy. I had already ripped all the green out on that one and put it in again, and by then I was just done. So we started it over again. Here's what I have done so far. I love that brown a lot better. It looks like dirt to me, it's a garden, so it should look like dirt, right? Got the controversial cauliflower / white flowers put back in, and I got the beehive, bee scalp done again. and then started up this plant that goes up the side. So I'm very happy with the colors that I have now, and I'm not changing anything else. If I get to a color I don't like, I don't care. It's just staying in there because we are done ripping this out. It seriously could be done by now. It's not that big of a pattern. It's Prairie Schooler. G is for garden. And it will also be done by the end of the month. Good thing I have lots of stitching time this week, huh? Because I have some lofty goals. Oh, I didn't even tell you. Shores of Hawk Run Hollows by Carriage House Samplings. The quilt, the Paula Vaughn piece is called September Quilt. No. Yes, September Quilt. Quaker Diamonds is by Rosewood Manor. And G is for Garden is by Prairie Schooler Sampler. And then I had a finish this week. And it was when I started for Mania. So I think you should get extra points for a Mania finish. I really do. Those should count. Double or something. I don't know. But I had only stitched on it maybe 2 days since Mania. The day I started it and then another day. It's called Sunflower Sampler. And it only took me, I worked on it Saturday and was able to finish it by the end of the day. It didn't take very long. I think I might make it into a small pillow with, I love when you put have some crushed pecan shells I could put in it. It is by Heart in Hand, called Sunflower Sampler. It was a kit. It came with the fabric, which was 32 count summer khaki. Came with a little piece of that. And it came with the little button. There is a little crow or blackbird rook button that it came with. Partway through stitching it on Saturday, I realized that the letters are supposed to be a dark green. The birds are supposed to be a black. And the middle of these sunflowers is a dark brown, like comparable to 3371. And I realized about halfway through on Saturday that they all looked like the same color to me. I couldn't tell one was green, one was brown, and one was black. But I was not about to start over on it. I just wanted to finish it. So I'm happy with the way it turned out. But if I was going to do it again, I would choose some different over dyes so that I could tell that they were green, brown, and black. But I think it's pretty anyway. So that was my finish. I had one finish. All right, that's current WIPs and finishes. So let's go to old finishes. Back in the day, in 2003, I was a member of the Legacy Embroiderers. It was a chat board on Youku called Legacy Embroiderers. I think it was Legacy Embroiderers Guild was the name of it. And clear back in 2003, they were having a round robin activity that you could sign up for. And it was called the House and Garden Sampler. And I wasn't participating, but I was watching the progress pictures come through. And it was basically 9 houses, 3, 3, and 3. And then each person that worked on it, so there would be 9 people in each round robin, and each person who worked on it was supposed to put some kind of a house. And I believe most of them also had an alphabet with each house. And that person who got it was their turn on the round robin, could pick any house they wanted. It just had to, the owner of the fabric had gridded it. So, you know, your house needs to fit in this section in the alphabet, and then the next person's house needs to fit in this section. I think sometimes they maybe put their favorite color palette and said, you know, I'd love it if this was in the blues and purples, or if the houses, you know, or I love these colors, if you can fit that in, that would be great. But the ones that I remember seeing that actually finished, made it to all 9 people and came back home again, it looked like, I'm pretty sure whoever stitched on it could choose whatever house and alphabet they wanted to. And I loved how they, like the first person would put their house on, and then the next person would put their house on, but they would make it, you know, they didn't stop right at the basted line that they had basted in to kind of show you where the different houses needed to be. They the houses kind of melded into each other. The next person who stitched made sure that they kind of added something in this empty spot or took something out so that this piece on this house that kind of came over, they could kind of, it looked like it was designed. Like someone had taken those 9 patterns and designed them to be next to each other. It was so amazing. The finished ones were just gorgeous. And there's only a few that I saw that actually made it around to all 9 stitchers and then home again. Some of them went to Europe for part of their trip and then came back. It was just an amazing story. But when I saw those, I thought, I have to make one of those. I decided not to do it as a round robin, just to do the whole thing myself. So I started thinking about it and thought, I want to do the 9 houses that mean the most to me in my life. I'll put 9 houses on there that mean something to me. So I chose 9 houses in my life. And I figured I would take a photo of the house and get on, and I had just pulled out some graph paper. So I had a photo, I decided on the 9 houses, took a photo of the ones, because most of them were close by, or it was from my past and I had a photo of it from when I was a child or something. And I just on graph paper did a simple salt box type structure that looked like the photo, a very simplified version of the house. And then for the trees and the shrubs and the stuff around the house, I just pulled out all the patterns that I had. I have probably the first 12 or 15 years of Cross Stitch and Country Crafts. I got that subscription the whole time that it was coming out. I have all of those. I have a lot of cross stitching magazines that I got back in the 90s and the 2000s. I pulled out all of those. I spent hours and hours looking through, because I didn't want to design the whole thing myself. I just wanted to pull houses and trees and stuff out of other patterns and put it on there, because that would be easier for me. I don't do great from a blank canvas. So then, and I remember starting it on Thanksgiving Day. That was my Thanksgiving start in 2004. And I just had, I knew what 9 houses were, and I had graphed out everything kind of that I wanted on the first house. I started on the middle house because that was going to be my house that I'm currently living in. It's this house. And so I started on that. I didn't have the rest of it charted. I just kind of knew which of the houses were going to go where, but I did not have every tree, plant, shrub on there yet. I just wanted to start it, and I knew that the apple tree was going to be right in the middle, and then my house was going to be right next to it. So I got started on it. And so I kept trying to design it and stitch it at the same time, and finally couldn't take it anymore. So I purchased PC Stitch probably in 2005 somewhere. I don't remember how long I worked on it before I couldn't handle the chaos of not having a finished pattern and stitching on it at the same time. It was driving me nuts. So I bought PC Stitch, and I actually spent a couple of months designing the whole rest of the piece, deciding exactly what I wanted it to look like and which trees and which shrubs were going to go where. And I was still pulling patterns from everywhere. And I did not choose an overall color theme. if I was using this pattern from the magazine for this tree, I pretty much used the colors that it called for in the magazine. And so it's very much mishmash of colors, but I love that because it feels like a sampler to me, like it was pieces that wasn't color designed from the beginning. It was pieces being put together as we went. Sorry, long story, and I haven't even let you look at it yet. I finally finished the pattern completely on PC Stitch. That was really nice to have the pattern complete, and then I kept stitching on it. I did not finish it until 2015, so I worked on it for 11 years before I was able to finish it. But I finally finished it, and I was so excited, and got it framed. So here we go. And it's large, so I'm gonna have to back up. And let's see if I can, I'm using my phone to film, which is a tiny screen, so I can't tell whether you're seeing a lot of glare or not. I hope not. I hope you can see most of it. Okay, so I'll try and tell you about each house if I can. This is my dad's parents. They lived just down on North Temple, just down the road from the Salt Lake International Airport, which was not an international airport then. My grandfather was a car mechanic. He had a garage in their backyard where they worked on cars, and he was also an airplane mechanic at the Salt Lake Airport, so that's why the plane is on there. This is the Mountain Timpanogos Temple. I mentioned before that I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, sometimes called the Mormons, and that's the closest temple to my home, the Mountain Timpanogos Temple. I was going to put an alphabet on each house because I loved how that looked, and I love alphabets. But somewhere in the middle of after I'd started stitching it but hadn't put an alphabet on yet, I was listening to a CD in my car of the Mormon Tabernacle Choir, which is now called the Tabernacle Choir at Temple Square. And they were singing a song called Gaelic Blessing. It's based on an old Gaelic blessing poem, I think. It's a poem. And then someone had arranged it to music. It's one of the songs that they sing on one of their albums. And I love that song. Love it. So instead of putting an alphabet on, I put the lyrics to that Gaelic Blessing song on here. I did change the lyrics around a little bit because I fit them to some of the houses. So they're not in the right order of what the arrangement is usually sung as. I moved them out of order a little bit. But I'll tell you that at the end. And then this... And I tried, on the temple, I tried to match the mountains. This is the Timpanogos, Mount Timpanogos Mountain that is right behind the temple. And I matched the line of the mountains when you're looking at the temple from a certain view. So the mountains are correct. The skyline is correct. This is my parents' cabin at Strawberry River. Last summer, we had a huge forest fire called the Dollar Ridge Fire, and the cabin has now burnt to the ground. It is not there anymore, so this kind of makes me sad. We are going to rebuild, but it's going to take us a while. But this was the cabin I grew up in. My dad bought the property when I was 12, and I think we finished it when finished the first half of it when I had 2 children, and then finished the other half. We kind of worked on it as a family and helped construct it. By the time I was... Marie, who's my 3rd child, was about 15 when we finished it finally. But we will rebuild. This river, I remember, is from a Bent Creek pattern. I pulled that river off of that, the little fish in it. We do have bears up there and squirrels, so I put those in. Oh, I forgot to tell you, over here, there's a turkey here because my uncle had a pet turkey when he was young. My dad's brother, that's why there's a turkey in that one. We have a lot of pine trees up there. It is on the Strawberry River. The cabin is about that close to the Strawberry River. So of course, after the fire, they had some major flooding because of the burn scar. I think the river rose 10 feet. So we can't get in there for another year because the road in has completely been destroyed and the river is out of its banks. But we will get back in there eventually. So that is why this strawberry tree is there, because this is the Strawberry River. And then this is my parents' house, but it's not the house I grew up in. It's the house where they live now. They live in Pleasant Grove, not too far from me. So this is their current house. Actually, no, I'm going backwards. This is my in-laws' house where they used to live in Linden. My father-in-law has a degree in entomology, so that is why there is bugs all over. And that is what they're in a care center now, but this is what their house looked like at the time that I stitched this. And I just loved this tree. So I put that there. This one in the middle, let's see if I can hold it up, is my current house. We had a black and white cat named Oreo when I was stitching this, who always sat at the front window and looked out, so that's why there's the cat. And we do have several apple trees in our backyard, so I loved that. I just loved the tree and thought it would be a great centerpiece for this. We do have several pine trees around our house. And that was fun to do, our very own house. It's fun to look at your house and say, oh, how do I design that? This is my parents' house, who live not too far from me in Pleasant Grove now. My dad wears a pin on his suit coat that is 2 geese, 2 mated geese. It symbolizes for him that, because geese mate for life, so it symbolizes for him that his marriage is important and he will have one spouse, one wife for the rest of his life. He's committed to her. I always loved that pin, so that's why. These are actually ducks, not geese, I believe. And they are, her name's on the tip of my tongue. It was out of an old magazine. You'd recognize the designer's name if you heard it. But that is why I have those here above this house. And they do have gosh, probably 6 or 8 peach trees in their yard. So this was, I took this from another pattern and I changed the fruit to be peach colored so that these could be peach trees. They might have been originally apple tree. I can't remember what pattern that came from. And this is my great-grandmother built a tiny, tiny cabin at Bear Lake in the early 70s. Eventually my mother bought the cabin, and so I have grown up at Bear Lake. Every summer of my life I've been at Bear Lake, so I had to do the Bear Lake cabin. So my parents own this cabin now. And yes, it's a weird color, but that's the actual color that it was painted when I was young. And we built a million sandcastles at that beach. I love that. It brings back a lot of memories. This is my mother's parents' house in Salt Lake City. It was a cinder block house that was painted pink. Really was pink. I helped repaint it several times. And she had Concord grapes going all along her back fence. So that's why there's grapes on there. And I remember this is from a Prairie Schooler pattern, I think. Aesop's Fables, maybe, with a fox on it. I remember that. My grandparents have the greenest grass you have ever seen. And I don't know what they did to it, but it was the most gorgeous lawn. So I had to do a vivid green. And then they had 2 ornamental shrubs they were not on the sides of the house, they were right in front of the house, but I chose to put them on the sides. I have designer's license, right? But that's why those are on there. They mean to me. That's what they mean to me. And then this is my local church building. That's just down the street from me where we go to church every Sunday. And then you may have noticed that I have the names that belong to each house all around the edge. I believe I got these tree patterns from a Brenda Keyes book, maybe, that had a whole bunch of trees in it. So I designed this border. I just put a whole bunch of trees next to each other. And I was driving past a house in our city that has the most beautiful red sandstone-ish looking fence around it with several arches that have doors that go into their yard. It's the most gorgeous. So I thought, oh, I've got to put that on my stitching. So there's this stone wall and this archway. It goes all the way around because I would love it. Kind of just felt like it was encircling the houses that I love. And then this tree pattern that I created just by putting several other tree patterns together continues all the way around. And then the names of who owned each house, or the name of it, like Mount Timpanogos Temple, is around the edge as well. The day I decided to I was on my way to the Craft Center of Fine Stitchery in Salt Lake City and thought I need to get that framed, and grabbed it and forgot that I was going to put my name, me and my husband's name, under here and what year we built this house. And I completely forgot to do that before I got it framed. So my name is not on here. I'll have to put it on the back. And then the Gaelic poem on here says, let's see if I can hold this up. Deep peace of the running wave to you, deep peace of the quiet earth to you, deep peace of the flowing air to you, deep peace of the shining stars to you, deep peace of the gentle night to you, moon and stars pour their healing light on you, deep peace of Christ, the light of the world to you, and deep peace of Christ to you. That's what the Gaelic blessing says that's on there. I love that project. Of course, 11 years of my life are in that project. It's all the homes that mean something to me. That's definitely one of my most precious heirlooms that I will keep forever. I'm going to put a photograph of each of those houses. I'll probably Photoshop it so that it's all on one piece, and then I'll glue it to the back with a little bit of a history of an explanation of what is on the back, so that someday when I'm not around and someone inherits that, they'll know what in the world it is. Hopefully my children don't fight over it. I don't know what we're going to do about that. Okay, that's my old finish for the day. Sorry that took forever. I did get some stash enhancement in the mail. It's another soda stitch pattern that got here. I had forgotten that I had ordered it. I love dollhouse patterns. I need to find some more dollhouse patterns, and and buy them. I only have this one and a Stony, no, is it Stony Creek? One of Santa's house. That's all I have. I need to look for some more because I love them. But this is Soda Stitch Little House. And I just think it is so darling. So this family either has 15 children or all the friends have come over to play because this is the fun house to play. Or maybe it's an apartment building and there's a different family living in each little room. I don't know, but there are a lot of people in this house. But I love, like I said on Soda Stitch, I love the bright colors of Soda Stitch. I can't wait to start on one of these. And what I wish, oh, I'm fighting the setting sun. I better hurry up. What I wish I was stitching this week. I was putting some stuff away in my stash and came across this Mirabilia pattern. It is called Sleeping Princess by Nora Corbett. And she's the princess in the pea. And once again, you can tell I love those bright colors. Love, love, love them. I saw a needle minder that I thought, oh, I gotta have that. So I had to buy that to go with this pattern, even though I haven't started stitching it yet. I just think it's the most beautiful pattern. Catherine and I, when we bought it, we were at the craft center in Salt Lake and said, we should buy this and maybe we could both work on it and finish it together. Of course, then I don't know how we're going to decide who gets to hang it up. Maybe it will have to be on a 6-month split or every other year it gets to come to my house and then go to her house. I don't know. We also bought the beads for it the same day. As you can tell, it has a lot of beads. So we're definitely going to be sharing the beading, Catherine, in case you're listening, because there is a lot of beads on it. Oh, it's going to be stunning. Love that piece. That's what I wish I was stitching on. But I am not going to add to my WIP debt this week by starting it. Although if I finish everything I want to finish by the end of the year, I might. I only have 2 tiny Christmas things to stitch in December. Secret Snowdrift I showed you last week. I'm going to save that and finish that in December. I realized that I should do Sunflower Sampler this month because it's fall, and I should do Secret Snowdrift next month because it's Christmas. And then my Nativity Ornament, Alessandra Adelaide Nativity Ornament. I will work on that in December as well, but those are not going to take all of December, so don't tell Catherine, my WIP debt counselor, but I may start a new Christmas piece in December. I have lots of larger Christmas pieces, but like I said, I rarely start anything in October, November, December, because I'm thinking about what I want to finish by the end of the year. So I don't know, I may do that. And I think that's everything. Hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving. We'll have 16 at our table on Thursday. It should be a lovely day. Family, all my children and spouses and children and my parents are coming over, so it'll be a lovely day. And then if you live outside of the United States and you're not celebrating Thanksgiving this week, I hope you have a fabulous stitchy week as well, and have a great day. Bye-bye.